Morning, everybody. I am here again with Tao of the Day. This is Martin John, the Recovery Mentor. I host the Recover Yourself podcast. I got a number of workshops coming up. And if you're interested in what your Tao of today looks like, step on up and we can talk. Just let me know what number you want to talk about and we can get into it. I am going to pick number 48 today. This came to me earlier and I read through it and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So if you want a number to pick, just hit that little purple microphone and you and I can chat a little bit. Hello. Wow, I looked at this name and I don't know that I can pronounce it. I don't want to mispronounce it, so I'm going to ask.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Martin John Garcia.
Oh, hola, ¿qué tal?
Muy bien, ¿y usted?
Oh, todo bien,
How
gracias.
could you not pronounce that name?
Because I looked at it and it was kind of half upside down. Is it?
So go syllable by syllable. You can pronounce it.
Teresita.
Muy bien.
Ah, está
Now say
bien.
the last name.
Corral.
Muy bien.
Ah,
Sometimes
perfecto.
people say coral, and I'm like, that's
Corral.
one R.
Es corral. Es
Muy bien.
corral.
Very well.
¿Y de dónde eres?
I'm so glad you invited me. I was like, I've been listening to you all morning.
Oh.
Different segments.
Yeah. Really? Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
You're
you.
you're like
And
right along my alley. I'm just totally in tune with you.
well, I'm following you, and so now when you are ready to join others and speak and for your stuff, I wanna know about it because we are like if we're speaking this not too many of us out there. So let's be honest and let's work
Exactly.
together to get
Exactly.
this message out.
Right.
So wonderful. Do you you've been listening to some things? Do you know the Tao Te Ching, and are you familiar
I
with
do.
Tao of the
I
Day?
do. I do. And I'm into numerology, and I
Um,
was really into Doreen Virtue, and her son.
mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
I don't know if you noticed, last month was all about ones and twos. They were like left and right. And I had, besides the ones, I had twos all the time. I just kept
Mm-hmm.
getting two, 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 two,
Yeah, yeah,
two,
yeah.
two, two. So I was gonna go for two, two.
22.
Yeah.
Look at 22.
Catch 22.
Yeah, I did 22 just a couple days ago because we're in 2022 and all of these ones and twos, right?
Right.
22s or two 11s and like all of these sorts of things.
We'll
So
have them again
so
this
this is
month
this is a
and next month.
what's that?
And we're gonna have them
I'm
again
sorry.
upcoming.
Oh, oh yeah. Yeah, it's like this whole
Well,
year is going to be a
so I
bunch of
feel, anyways.
yeah. So
I
let's
mean, it's
let's
about
see.
change.
It is like this is transformation. I've been going through a lot of transformation and really slowing down and really just allowing myself to not do, which has been difficult. But I
Right?
have a great support system and people have been like standing by me. So
Awesome.
I'm really
Uh,
excited to be able to see where this leads me. So okay, 22 states. If you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. The Master, by residing in the Tao, sets an example for all beings. Because he doesn't display himself, people can see his light. Because he has nothing to prove, people can trust his words. Because he doesn't know who he is, people recognize themselves in him. Because he has no goal in mind, everything he does succeeds. Now this is the last section. When the ancient masters said, if you want to be given everything, give everything up, they weren't using empty words. Only by being lived by the Tao can you truly be yourself.
so be it.
So be it. Yes.
Very nice.
So that's a long piece. What are some of the things that kind of stuck out to you or that resonate really deeply?
Well, pretty much, in order to receive any blessings without any expectations either. You you are what you give.
You are. Yes. You just like that's it. You are. You are.
You
Like
are. I am that I
that's
am.
yeah, yes, ma'am. That's
Exactly.
beautiful.
And I've been hearing you say it, and you sound it from the description of it. I've heard you say it. I heard you in which I don't know which one it was.
Yeah.
Explain it thoroughly, and I was like, wow, if that's not the truth,
Oh. Well,
you
thank you.
know,
Yeah.
it is so true. Because
Yeah.
the more you are for others, the more happens in your life, and the more abundant, and the more you manifest, and the more you receive. You know,
Yeah, and
beautiful.
there's so much paradox in that too, right? Like
Yeah.
because if you are for others for yourself or if you are yourself for others, right? Like
Right.
there's kind of a back and forth in it all. So I want to go through this, quickly, but like relatively because it's long. But I want to go through this sort of line by line and allow us to just kind of explore a little bit about like where like how all of the different parts of this piece kind of come together. So we have these initial like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences, which if you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. If you want to be straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to be full, empty, reborn, let yourself die. If you want to be given everything, give everything up.
I wish I could get this in recording.
Well, you will be able to when it's done. I can get that.
Oh, that would be awesome. If you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
send it to me, I am or
Yeah,
something.
I put them on Spotify and stuff, so they are there
That would be
as
great.
well.
Yeah.
But we'll yeah, but we'll
Because
but
I
we'll
have a
we'll
story to
connect.
tell you afterwards, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't see any links for you. I am on Instagram, and you can find me on my website, and so
Okay.
you can get me your info, and then we can connect
Okay.
outside of this back channel or whatnot.
Okay.
So I really like this piece because I really love this let yourself die line. This if you want to be given everything, give everything up. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. And this is something that I try and do like every morning. I try and let who I was yesterday and the thoughts I had yesterday kind of fall away. I want to remember that yesterday was just a dream and who I
Oh,
am today is someone new. And
yeah.
but that means I have to let
Let
go of
go.
so much. This morning I woke up and I was in bed and for some reason I was like I'm going to get I'm going to give away not all, but a lot of my clothes and shoes. I was thinking about
Yes.
my Italian shoes. I have
Yes.
these beautiful
Yes.
Italian
Yes.
shoes that I
Yes.
have like
Too
that
much
I have
clutter. Good.
I have these beautiful like 20-year-old Italian pointy-toed shoes that I
Give them
haven't
away.
yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna give them away. And I have a hat that I'm gonna give away because I mean I wear hats all the time, but I have one that like I was like I gotta let this go. And then
Yes.
I went into my closet and I just pulled out like all these shirts that I'm like I don't need this. I don't want this. And
Yes.
I just shoved it in a bag and later on I'll go and I'll put it in a box. And I'm just like this idea of die, this idea of let who you were die and
Yes.
I have a storage unit right now which has some things in it and I'm just thinking I gotta spend some time just getting rid of that stuff and it's like I don't even want to sell it. I don't even want to do the work to gain anything. I just want to let it go.
Yes. 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 May I interject?
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on.
Okay. Well, I have to say first and foremost that I too am in recovery, and
Oh, wonderful.
yes, and
Congratulations and I love you.
yes, I love you too, my brother, and good on your sobriety. I've been for years. Only I was in and out for years, and I
Mm,
finally had this awakening, and I didn't have it. You know how you hear about these bottoms up, and I didn't feel like I ever had it. Well, I recently, last year, in June, not so long ago, had a motorcycle accident. I was riding for 6 years, knock on wood, and I got rear-ended by a dump truck. Well, I
mm,
had an epiphany with it, actually. And I realized for all the reasons, you know, being, because in the past I was still using, past I also had not recognized the danger, the my life, how beautiful it was, and how how I was given so many chances. Anyways, long story short, this was my aha moment. This was my definite bottom. This was my moment where I am definitely, and I've gotten it through all my numbers, through all my messages. I messages always, And I was
Yeah.
telling my sponsor, so we call him. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm just like, I every time I'm in a room, I'm, anywhere, I thank God for the fact that I'm alive. But anyways, let me go into what I'm going through. So my mom's got Alzheimer's, right? And
Mhm.
she's not doing very well. Well, she was my crux, and
Mhm.
I went through a lot of stuff growing up, and she was like mother dearest, and literally, figuratively, and in every which way. Well, I held on to her and the past for years. I couldn't move on because of her. And I remember one of the last treatment centers that I went in several years back, I brought her in again, not literally, but figuratively.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
had to mirror her in an empty chair. And when I did mirror her, I was like, this is ridiculous. And I started crying. And she says, well, do you realize that it wasn't, since back in 2004 or wherever you were here, you brought her in and you just brought her in again. And I was like, ah, so I didn't realize how, you know, we hold on to the past and all the pain. And even if we were hurt and pained, it doesn't mean we have to, nullify that and, and not address it. But that I held on to it for so many years. Well, my mom's got Alzheimer's now, and it's still hard to be around her because now with her aggressiveness and her anger and her chaos, we're three Spanish girls, we're Cuban, and we're like,
Mhm.
now she's really shot out, and
Yeah.
she's really like, going through crazy antics, so it's even more difficult. But of course, I turn things over, as you know. I
Yeah.
turn him over and I turn him over and I turn him over. And my sponsor has a similar situation with her mom, or had. She's been in rooms of recovery for many years. And so she's all of a sudden talking about her past, like things that were like in her young youth. And I'm listening attentively. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she used to tell me all the time that I wasn't planned. And that was one of my cruxes, and that I was the last one. I wasn't planned, and that's why I didn't have a middle name. And when I told a therapist that, she's like, "Oh gosh, well." So she starts talking to me the other day. She goes, I named you Teresita, because your father or your grandfather, wanted a spiritual name and this and that. I never knew this. It just came out of
Mhm.
nowhere, you know. And the funny thing is, I've always, in my quest, I've always gone to like I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, but I've always, I left around the mid 20s because I always knew that there has to be more in life where God, wants all of us, to be aware, of the spirit, and
Yeah.
so I thought, and I want to give this away to everyone. I want to give my love and the love that he speaks of to everyone I come in contact with, and so she said she said this to me, and I told her, I was like in awe. It's just 2 days ago, and she said it the other day, but it just went over my head because unfortunately some things she just repeats over and over again, or other things I'm just like, I don't really listen to her, and I heard it and I couldn't believe it, and I said to myself, well, I always used to think I want to be like a Mother Teresa or a Maya Angelou or like Buddha or Nelson Mandela, or a woman that wants to love others and be kind to others and show love and show forgiveness. So my quest has been to show forgiveness to those that have harmed me and harmed me, like, to no point. And so
Right.
I pray for those people, and the love that I'm getting in return is amazing because somehow or another I see it. If not immediately, I know that I'll see it in due time because I want them to have love, or to have love in return. If I didn't have it, why wouldn't I want somebody else to have that love that I wanted to have? So it's
That's
coming.
beautiful.
it's coming little by little, but I think that it comes by slowly dying and showing love to others, even if they don't show love to you, because obviously they don't have it and they don't know how to give it, you know?
Yeah.
And
And
it's
that
such
brings
a
us
beautiful process.
that brings us right to this next line and the rest of this Tao that states, by residing in the Tao, by praying, you set an example for all beings.
Yes,
By not displaying yourself, other people
exactly.
can see the light within them and within you. Because you have nothing to prove. You don't have to prove anything.
Exactly. You don't have to prove a
People can
single
trust
thing.
your words.
Exactly. And and sometimes
So you're breaking up and you're running out of time.
yes.
I do have two people in the queue. Thank you
Okay.
so much. And I'm gonna, Teresita, seriously, find my website, martinjohn.com. Reach out to me. I will reach out to you. We'll be in touch. I would love to chat with you further. Dr. Rao is on as well as Julie. Julie, if you can, please stick around, and I would love to take a number from you. Dr. Rao, hello, my friend.
Hi, Martin. How are you?
I am doing well. I am doing well.
Yeah,
As I was talking about
I'm.
earlier, I woke up and I'm shedding and I'm putting things away. I'm gonna die to who I am today to be who I
Yeah,
will be tomorrow.
yeah. I just wanted to say something about that. I'll
Yes.
be brief. I won't be staying long,
Okay.
because I'm in the middle of something. But when I heard that, oh, I should go and sell this to Martin. That's why. So you were saying dying to yourself, right? So
Yes.
there is a Ramana Maharshi's movie and talk also that talks about this. He
Hmm.
said, if your goal is to be right, to
Hmm.
be is your goal, you have to die to yourself.
Yes. 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 Yes.
About positions and all that, see, that's one part of us. Okay, that's fine. But the thing
Hmm.
is, what is that mind made entity that we think that we are? We should die to that.
Right. All of the identity.
Yes, yes.
Yes. All
So,
of it. I
so that
woke up
is
this
very
morning.
scary. Yeah,
Oh,
very
please continue.
scary for, yeah, very scary for a lot of people, because they say, "You want me to die to all that? My experiences, my,
My
name,
being a father, my being a
yeah,
son,
yeah,
my being an artist, my being a
yeah,
lawyer or whatever.
my being profession, my being all that fame, all that we think that we are. You have to die to. You know what? Once you do that, be is really what we really are.
Yes. Yes.
And in that energy, I think you will see that everybody is included in the energy, inclusive. So you have no separate thing. And actually, that's a very fulfilling thing, forever fulfilling thing. That's the thing that I wanted to convey to you, because we are on the same page, what we are talking.
Yes, yes. We
So,
definitely are. And when I
yeah,
woke up this morning,
yeah,
I was doing a little meditation and it just kept coming to me. Just
mhm,
get rid of it.
yeah,
Just let it go. And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, I just stepped into it and started doing it. And it's such a nice
yeah,
thing because
yeah.
it's like I am so open to
I will tell you something shocking. Probably you
yeah.
know it already. In India, there are this tribe called Nagas, the sadhus. They call them Naga. Naga means like a snake, right?
Yeah.
The snake is worshipped as a most perceptive animal, and it is a place. If you go to India, you see everywhere snake is worshipped, or snake is kept as a guard in the backyard, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole culture is this, that Nagas, especially that tribe, they don't wear any clothing.
Okay.
They're naked Nagas, so very scary for us. But then what it is they are like that. They just want to be who they are
Yes.
in complete nakedness of their interior and everything too. So there's a deeper accomplishments there. So some people, for modesty's sake, they just wear the loincloth, nothing else. You know.
Yeah.
So I just wanted
Yeah,
to,
thank you for coming on. I really
yeah,
appreciate all
yeah,
of your wisdom and everything. And I really appreciate our connection. So I look forward
yeah.
to chatting again.
I have started a new room. If you have time, join me at 11 o'clock Central Time this morning also. Yesterday I started. It is about bring me your wisdom. Let's have a dialogue.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That was very interesting thing produced yesterday. So I'm inviting people to present their wisdom without overwhelming them or anything, So then it really comes out from their intelligence and we can learn from that too. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
I see.
writing a note, 11 a.m. Dr.
Yeah.
Rao,
Yeah.
wisdom. We're going to hit it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Okay, sure, Martin. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Julie, if you're still here, it looks like you are. Yes, good. I'm glad. Thanks for hanging out. My
I'd
buddy
wait
Julie.
an eternity to speak to you,
I
Martin. John,
know.
I would.
I am sorry. Like I
No,
don't.
no, no. I would wait an eternity.
Oh well. Thank
So
you.
that was a short time for me.
Well, I'm grateful that you're around, and yeah, and I think
I,
that all of those conversations were really really nice anyway. So how are you
I've
doing?
made
We
a note
had a
of your.
pretty we had a pretty intense conversation yesterday. How are you doing?
We did. I'm all right. Yes, I. The good thing is that you give me another way of looking at things that I wouldn't normally come across. So that's why I'm always keen to talk to you. So
Yeah.
yes, I've had a good
Setting the bar
think
high
about.
for me, sweetheart. Setting the bar high for me.
Well,
keep,
I don't know.
keep raising it.
I am. I've made a note of your .com, by the way, so you'll hear from me shortly.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Yeah. Because we did talk. Yeah, because I was like, well, if I don't hear from you, I don't want to push anything, But if you
No, no, no.
can,
I've made note of it, and shortly after I've spoken to you, I will contact you
sounds
because,
great.
yeah, our talk yesterday. I think I've got lots for you to work on.
Well,
And you.
so this is traditionally Tao of the day. So why don't you come up with a number and we'll dive in.
So what numbers have I got? Because I have a number in my mind.
Is it between 1 and 81?
It is.
Well, give it to me.
It's 67.
67.
What a strange number, he says.
No, I was glancing over at my page of all of the numbers that I have not used, and 67 is, although not one of them is one off. So I was like, oh, is it? And I was like, oh, nope, it was not that one. But so here we go. Oh, this may be very good for you. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty and impractical. But those who have looked inside of themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, and compassion. These
Wonderful.
3 are your greatest treasures. Simple in action and in thought, you return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate towards yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world.
Crikey, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So, any initial thoughts? Because that's kind of a lot, but it's all about this simplicity and the silliness of it all.
Yeah, and actually, I enjoy the silliness of it all. It is what I'm about. That is exactly what I'm about.
Yeah.
I need to keep hold of that loftiness and that silliness to a degree because that
Mhm.
is my tool. It
Right.
is what I use every day. If I don't hang on to those 2 things, loftiness and silliness, my ego will just take over, you see. I
Yeah.
need those things. I need it not to be so serious. I need that in my life because that's what's really makes me sing. It's what makes me grow. It's what makes me happy.
That's
It's a
beautiful.
lifter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping I'll always be that way.
You've
But
been doing it
yeah,
this
and the
long. I mean,
simplicity I have, and I don't really. I've not got the words, as I've explained before, of when you you condense everything down to simplicity, which is a really strange thing because condensing is complicated, but the end result is simplicity, and that is my goal. That
Yeah.
is my goal, that simplicity.
You know, it's
And
interesting. I see this image when you're speaking of this like condense, 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 and you condense so much, you
yeah,
it opens into this like black hole. So it's kind of like, you know, a sun as it condenses in on itself, as it collapses in on itself, like collapses to a black hole, which is nothingness to such a degree that it is something,
yeah.
you know.
And you know what black holes do, don't you? They
They suck.
suck
I don't know.
everything. They do. They do. They chuck it all in there. Come on,
Yeah.
feed me.
It can, yeah, and it just sucks in all of this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But in it, it disappears in it because the structure of it is as such that it can contain everything in nothing,
Yeah.
and that is what the Tao is looking to do, right? Like as we go through this again, and we say. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty but impractical. But those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. And that's exactly what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, crikey. It's so good, isn't it? I do love joining you for Tao of the Day.
These are beautiful. And, you know, and that's the thing, like when we can speak to people and we start speaking about, you know, like getting out of the systems that we have and really kind of having faith in what is. A lot of people are like, well, how are you going to pay your bills? Even me, even in
Yeah.
my gut, in your gut, we have those like, how is it going to happen? How am I going to do? How? Well, the
Yes.
how has never been our problem, right? Like our problem is what? What do you
Yeah.
want? And what are you doing right now?
Yeah. At the moment, I am thinking about my future, but living in my present. I have to use this present now to prepare for the unknown future, because it is definitely unknown. And the thing about the unknown for me is I find that exciting. I find it exciting that maybe how am I going to feed myself? How am I going to cope with the weather? How am I going to cope with the terrain? How am I? It's all, a what at the moment is I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of recording how I'm thinking now about it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how I think about it when it's in process and how I think about it when it's done. So
Such an
it's
intellectual.
it's really a learning. It is
Yeah.
a new learning rather than the learning I've had before. This is different.
Yeah,
It's
this because this
different.
is all new now. The learning you had
Yeah.
before was all about picking up what other people put down for you.
Yes.
Now you're
This is
figuring out what that is for yourself.
it's almost pioneering. It's a
Yes.
pioneering learning I'm about to embark on. And what's exciting about it is I don't know what's going to happen at all. And
Mm-mm.
I am relying on the Tao. I'm
Yes, and
relying
you
on
know
it.
the nice thing is you have a vehicle. Like I mean, literally, you have a bicycle, but you have this vehicle to enter into nothingness.
Yes.
You just have like a structure to enter into the nothingness. And that's what everything is, right? That's the balance of masculine and feminine. You have a yang, and now you will open yourself up to receive what that structure has to offer you.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely.
And
It's
then the
kind.
next line here, like, it's beautifully aligned, because it says, I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, and compassion.
Yeah. Yes.
Simple in actions, you're going to ride your bike.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. There's nothing complicated about it.
That's right.
It is totally simple. My legs will go round, the pedals will go round, I will move forward on a terrain, and whatever happens, happens. It's that simple.
Yes, and
I'm
simple in
really,
thought.
yes, absolutely. And there's no need to complicate it in any way.
No,
I don't find there is.
no,
I just
just clear
want
your
to,
mind and ride your bike.
yeah, and
You
feel,
return to the source of being.
yeah, yes, that is exactly what I want to experience as well. Just being. That's it.
And then patient with both friends and enemies. So anybody you
Yes,
come across, people that are mad at you for being on the road, people that are supporting you, you are patient with them, and you accord with the way things are right now.
yes. Yeah, I have people around me that find me selfish for embarking on this journey, that it is only bearing in mind myself. I'm leaving them to fend for themselves. I've got people like that. But what I have said to them is, you are capable. You have all the tools. I feel comfortable to be able to leave you. That is my congratulations to you and my pride in you. That is how I've dealt with that.
Congratulations on your graduation, sweetheart.
Yes, I gave my daughter away at a wedding. Honestly, I
You're
can't tell.
good. You're good. I can go on this bike ride.
Yeah, here you are. Here's your wife.
Yep, yep, yep.
You have now
That's
embarked
funny,
on your
like
own journey. Yeah.
I love that attitude, because I tell parents all the time, your children are not yours, right? They are people. Like, you're
Yeah.
just here, like, yeah, okay, you can be their parent and you can do all those things, but they can't dictate what you do.
Yeah, you can prepare them or give them the tools for their own journey. But even as a small child, they are an individual soul. And
Yeah,
that's the thing. We never own our children. We should never think that we own our children. And the day will come when your child will turn around to you and say, all right, mum, that's enough of that. You know, I'm capable, and they will tell you. But
yeah,
you bring them up in the way that you know that's going to occur, because they don't belong to you. They're not your children forever.
that's right.
They are individual people, and you have to let them go with the tools that you've given them. And that's all you
And with
can.
the tools that they've learned. Like,
Yes.
the thing is they may get a lot of tools that you never intended to give them,
Yeah.
but they got
Well,
anyway. And
yeah.
you just have to trust in every moment that you are in accordance with the Tao. You are allowing things to be as they are, and you
Yeah.
love your child no matter what,
Yes.
because you need to love yourself. And as long as that's in flux, as long as you are making that possible, that that simplicity in action and thought, and that patience with friends and enemies, and then compassionate towards yourself,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
reconcile all beings. You can
Yeah.
restore all beings in the world. And you never know the people that you are going to interact with that are going to affect your children or your children's children. And so just be here present now.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly it.
Some say my teachings are nonsense. Others call it lofty and impractical, but all these teachings are simplicity, patience, and compassion. And like if we can enter every day with these three things, right? Like if we can enter our lives, and you are entering your entire life with these three things as kind of like the cornerstone.
I've written them down. They're that important.
And it's that, like if you were to, work with your website and the language in your website and stuff about like, because this is so beautiful. And this is number 67. And I'll send you like a link to all these so you can get the translations. But such a beautiful number for you.
It is. That's an absolute gift again, Martin.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's you gave it to yourself. I just read it for you.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to interact and relate and to be able to be present here with you. And I feel like you have always picked a number of great doozies and things that are right in line with what you're doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Martin, let's go live life.
That's right. Yes. We can all use that. Oh, this is Alva Taba Taba. I am tongue tied. This is Maccabee. Is that right?
I do that to some people. I know. What can I say?
You do what now?
Tongue tie.
Oh yes, I wanted to make sure I pronounced the name right. Yes, Maccabee. Like you're bringing me. You're making me nervous.
Don't be nervous, darling. Don't be nervous. It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Someone mentioned you to me yesterday. I forget who it was, but I'm glad you're here. Here we are connected. Are you familiar with Tao of the Day?
I am.
Wonderful.
I have come across you multiple times on here. It's like you live here. It's like you live here for some reason.
Oh my God. Well, I hope that's not what it's like. It doesn't feel that way from my end, so that's good.
That makes it even better.
Yes.
I was drinking my coffee, about to die.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that ever again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we start with just a number between 1 and 81, and we'll get into connecting from there.
1 through 81. I'm going to go with lucky number 17.
17. People love number sevens. We had 67, now we're going to 17, which reads, when the master governs, the people are hardly aware he exists.
Mm-hmm.
Next best is the leader who is loved. Mm-hmm. Next, the one who is feared. The worst one is one who is despised. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When the work is done, the people say, amazing. We did it all by ourselves. Initial thoughts.
Oh, it's so true. It honestly is true. Think about what God does for us. Okay. God created the heavens and the earth. He created everything from nothing. And yet people walk around and say, oh, look what I did. I raised this plant or
child.
Or child. Yeah. I created this child inside of me.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You helped to get it the DNA that it needed, but you're not the one who actually made the child.
Right.
But it is so interesting how when we look at everything around us, we forget about who actually made it, who actually physically made everything. Mm-hmm. And even to the air we breathe, the correct mixture of gases that we breathe in our lungs, because obviously we don't breathe pure oxygen. Did you know we only breathe like 30% of oxygen, the rest of us nitrogen and other said gases from what we pick up?
And pollutants, yeah, pollutants. Well aware, yeah.
I did not know that. I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know it was only 30% oxygen.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, if our atmosphere was all oxygen, it'd have blown up a long time ago.
if it had been all oxygen, we would have been ran over by, by all these huge bugs. Like the bugs will be the size of,
You don't want to live in an
big,
environment that's all
right,
oxygen.
right. That's why we have plants. They consume the oxygen and give us everything else we need. Or vice versa. I'm sorry. Consume the carbon dioxide.
They clean a lot
They
of
clean it
they
up
clean
for us.
the air.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I'm not an elementary child. No.
No.
I know what 2 + 2 is. It's 7.
Are you smarter than a third grader?
I'm not even smarter than a 5-year-old some days. Which is kind of disturbing sometimes.
It's interesting what you're saying, right? Because what we have here, what we start with in this chapter is when the master governs, the people are hardly aware he exists.
Exactly. And then when you start looking at the other ones, like you said, the one that loves and the one that's a tyrant, we know them just because they're the ones saying, hey, I love you so much. Here's this. Here's this. Here's this. Oh, we're going to recognize you just because you're giving us stuff. Right. Or, oh, you better bow down before me, bud, because if not, I'm going to tear your bud down. Okay, I'm going to be terrified of that person, so I'm definitely going to recognize it.
Right.
Yeah, it's those little things. And if you look at our society and how it's set up that way, it's very similar to exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of things we don't see that are very invaluable to our living, us actually living. We're always trying to understand. And this is what I love about, now, I'm probably going to mess with some people and they're probably not going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. I love how science and God actually exist. I'm going to say that again. Science and God can coincide with one another because God allows us to have science so that we can understand his creations and everything he has developed for us. So science is not, science to some people is there to dissolve the idea of a single God in the sky, this imaginary man in the sky that gives us everything. But it's actually there to understand what allows us to live, the things around us. There's so many things that we're allowed to do because he gives us the knowledge to do it.
Yeah. And I'm going to bring us back to the chapter at hand, just because what we have next in this line is if you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. This references both the leader who is loved and the leader who is feared and the leader who is despised, right? If you are someone who is loved, like you mentioned earlier, this idea of I'm going to give you stuff and you're going to love me. Well, you're giving them stuff because you don't trust the people.
Yes.
If you are a leader who is feared, you're feared because you're trying to control the people and make them do what you want them to do, or else. Yeah. Once again, you don't trust the people. If you are one who is despised, it is because you are forcing your will upon the people. Once again, you don't trust the people. But in not trusting them, you have made them untrustworthy and maybe moved your ranks from a leader who was loved to one who is feared to one who is despised.
Yes, because that can be very easily changed in a split second with one specific decision.
That's right.
And you can be and that's when you look at all these masters, these variations of the master, we have so many different ones. We have, social media, that's a master. The internet's a master to us because it gives us what we want to see or we want to present to the world. It allows us to have that facade of everything's perfect, or these are just the good parts that I want to share of my life. And a lot of people don't see it that way. That's one version of that. And then, of course, it also is the other version of the master that's a tyrant and that we hate, because it gives so many people a chance to attack us, to troll us, to bring us down, to make us feel so unworthy of ourselves that we have to go out and change what we look like or the way that we act, or, you know, whatever the case may be, that's changing our psyche, that's all making us change our physical appearance,
Right.
or making us feel like we are not, especially for, you know, our sisters, our mothers, our female friends and wives, you know, it's making them feel like they are not pretty enough, that they have to go out and get this stuff to make them look pretty, because this person doesn't look like that, because of filters that have been added on there.
Right.
And you know, that's why I'm saying that when it comes to like social media, the internet, things that allow us in marketing to present ourselves in a certain light, it is that idea of you have the good master and you have the bad master.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I'm trying to like bring all of this back to this like this because we end this whole thing with this amazing, we did it all by ourselves. This is what the
Mm-hmm.
people say, right? The master
Mm-hmm.
doesn't talk, he acts.
Right.
When his work is done, the people say, amazing, we did it all ourselves. And the master, and I want to reference back to the beginning, when the master governs, the
Yeah.
people are hardly aware he exists.
Yeah.
Next best is the leader who loves. Next, one who is feared. The worst is one who is despised. And so there is a differentiation between like master and leader here, because like
Yes.
social media lead us to a place,
Right.
but
Right.
they are not our master, right? We
Well,
can make them our masters in
yeah.
terms of like enslavement of an idea,
Yes.
or
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
living under the influence
Mm-hmm.
of, because I talk a lot about recovery and stuff, so I talk about
Yes.
living under the influence of social media. When we are living under the influence of diet culture, when we're living under the influence of the fashion industry, when we're living under the influence of all of those things, we lose sight of who we are and we become untrustworthy,
Yeah.
because we're trying to make this story. And that's what we have in the middle here. If you don't trust the
Yeah.
people, you make them untrustworthy.
Yeah. It definitely is that idea of when you allow something else to lead you into a certain way of thinking or a certain way of believing, and then you realize that you're trying to take you're trying to take credit for something that you had no credit involved in, you had nothing to do with, but yet the master allows it to happen because he wants you to be happy. He wants you to be understanding of what you are capable of doing, just so as long as, and this is where a lot of variations happen with this, is where you believe or not who the actual master is, and do you give that credibility back to him. And like you said earlier, we did this, and
Right.
those are the people that don't want to give credit to the master, because they feel like they were the ones who went through all the hard work. They did all the blood, sweat, and tears. They had the, you know, whatever excuse they say, or whatever reasoning they say, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're taking the credit. That's why the master sometimes just wants to just push them in a certain position in their lives and saying, okay, you said you did this. Okay, go ahead, show me, and then take that power back away.
I don't know that God is that petty, but okay.
No, I'm
Like
not saying he's petty. I'm not saying he's
like I
petty.
don't think
But
like here in this final line it says the master doesn't talk, he acts.
right, but here's the difference.
When his work is done, the people say amazing, we did it all ourselves.
Right, because
In
here's
that,
okay.
go
Go.
on.
Sorry.
No, no.
No, go ahead. Go ahead with your
So
thought.
in that, I believe it's stating that the master isn't, like, once again, in the beginning, when the master governs, when God governs, the people
Hmm.
are hardly aware he exists. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When the
Right.
work is done, the people say, amazing, we did it all by ourselves. And we're not trying to say what I feel is happening here, what I feel is being said here. And I do believe this about God, is that God doesn't need credit.
No, no, not even by a long shot. No.
Right. And God
Right.
isn't petty and isn't going to pull strings to get you to recognize him, because he doesn't need that.
Right.
The leader who is loved needs that. Right. And then when
Yes.
he doesn't get loved, he is going to become the leader that is feared.
Hmm.
And when he is not feared enough, he is going to become the leader who is despised. This is why I would say God doesn't give a damn if you praise him. Because as long as you are living your life, you are praising him, because your life is a part of him.
I will agree and disagree in a way. And there's two other things one other thing I was going to say. It depends on what God you're talking about, because in the scripture it does say the God of the heavens and then the God of the world. Because when you think about it, the God of the world is Satan, because he allows Satan to.
I do have two people on Maccabee. I would love to connect with you again. I am going to give you just wrap up what we're speaking about, because we did get through 17. I would love to have you just speak what you need to.
Absolutely. So what I was saying is, when you look at the scripture, uh, you have God of the world, and that is Lucifer. He's the one that controls everything on this earth. That's why he was able to try and tempt Jesus. I will give you everything that you can see. Okay. But here's the other aspect that I really I wanted to agree, if I can remember it. My brain just went into ADD mode for a second there. And it does that sometimes. Is the fact that I love what you were just saying, in the sense that when a master has created something so wonderful, but yet people see this wonderfulness, and when they have that, how do I want to say this? Because I don't want to out. I don't want to misspeak.
Mhm.
Um,
I understand what you're saying. I think if I can kind of sum it up,
yes, please, please.
is that when you get people saying we did it ourselves, you get people embracing pride, and when you get them embracing pride, they start to take credit for
Thank you.
the wholeness of what God is. But God is here, and so they are leading down this path of, like, uh-oh, you're gonna get down this path. But
Yeah.
it is possible that many people need that path in order to find their way to the next level of wherever they are. Anyway, I don't think God is ignorant of that, and
No.
he has created this place of physical interaction in order to allow these things to take place. And this is why we also talk about the master, on earth, whether that be Jesus or the Buddha or Muhammad or whatever, right? Like we can talk about all those things
Mhm.
because we have achieved this
Right.
in the past, and the
Right.
path that we are taking. I mean, like I said, I understand you can go down a wrong path, but there isn't a wrong path. God didn't create a wrong
Right.
path.
Right. And I'm
Love you,
glad.
man. I'm gonna
I'm
go
glad you
ahead and
said that. I'm glad you
swap you
said that
out.
too.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
and we will be in touch. Bringing in Catherine, my buddy, Catherine. There are no wrong paths, folks. Love you. Catherine, what's up, buddy? Did I lose you? Are you not here? There is a blank spot. Uh-oh, I think she left. Let's see. Is Bella still on? Bella, my buddy, did you leave me? It's okay if you did.
Hi,
Hello.
Martin.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
Well, well, well. You know, I don't do that now, but I wanted you to, if you wouldn't mind, just because I had a little bit of anxiety, if you could, the leader wants love, and what was the other one?
The leader, oh, when the master governs, the people are hardly aware he exists. The next best is the leader who is loved. Next,
Yeah.
one who is feared the worst is one who is despised. Did I lose you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Who said that? Hermit catch you.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, Bella. I can't hear you. This is very strange, Bella. I would hate to kick you out, but I want to get you.
Last
Are you with me?
right.
No. No. I don't know if anybody can hear. Yeah, you're breaking up quite a bit. I can't understand what you're saying. I am going to swap you out. If you have something that you want to share, maybe we can try and get you back in after Catherine. All right, so I got Catherine coming back on. There you are. Hello, my dear.
Hello. Yeah, Bella. She was so clear, and all of a sudden it was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't, and that was going on for a little bit. So I was just
I
like,
know.
oh, I need to,
I
unfortunately.
know.
I always
We
like what
had
she
some
has to
fun
say.
people, Maccabee and Bella.
Did you tell me about Maccabee just like yesterday?
Probably. I brought
Somebody
him to
did.
you.
Yes, and we finally connected. Yes, and it was a very good conversation. I think I always like
Mhm.
like he was talking about scripture, and that's not really my forte, but yeah, but it was really nice. It was good. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, he's fun to have conversations with. All
Yeah.
right. 21.
21. We did 22 today. Now we're doing 21. Love it.
Well,
Love
it's
it.
so funny. I was trying to get some organized. I have to take Spencer for his allergy pill. And then I was like, 21. I'm like, I wonder if Dow of the Day's on.
And yes, it was.
Yeah. So,
The master keeps her mind always at one with the Tao. That is what gives her her radiance. The Tao is ungraspable. How can her mind be at one with it? Because she doesn't cling to ideas. The Tao is dark and unfathomable. How can it make her radiant? Because she lets it. Since before time and space were, the Tao is. It is beyond is and is not. How do I know this is true? I look inside myself and see.
I like this one. I'm laughing a little bit because my dog keeps going in and out because he likes to do hide and go seek with food. My mom puts it out. So he's been going in and out, coming in and looking for food. I like this one because I'm the boss in this one.
Yes.
Down.
Yes.
And apparently my house is full of joy today. Not treats, just joy. This is such a good one because we were talking about this yesterday, day before. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know what day
and
it is.
I do want to say this morning I listened to your podcast, Beautiful Work. Yes.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
yes. So, it was really nice to hear about holding on to the reins.
Hmm. The
Yeah, and
horse
letting
ride
go of the reins. Yeah.
part 2 is
Is
tomorrow
today. Is
or today.
tomorrow. Yes.
Today. I don't know what day of the week
Today.
is.
It's Wednesday.
So it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I listened to yesterday's or Monday's this morning.
Oh,
So the master keeps her mind always to the Tao. That's what gives her her radiance. And
yeah.
like this one is interesting because it's not, like it's kind of flowy. It's more prosy. It's not really like, oh, here's a line, here's a line, here's a line, because because then it explains the Tao. So that just kind of puts this. Okay, here's the master. She keeps her mind to always at one with the Tao, and that's what gives her her radiance. But
Mm-hmm.
then it brings up these two questions like, wait a minute. The Tao is ungraspable. How can her mind be at one with it?
Yes.
The answer to that is because she doesn't cling to ideas.
Ooh. I like that.
Like these ideas and identities that we hold on to every day, right? We don't cling to the idea. And just as Maccabee was talking about, like diet culture and all of the other aspects of like our lives today, social media, we don't cling to the ideas. We allow ourselves to be at one with the Tao, that
Well,
ungraspable nature.
yeah, and not getting caught in the thoughts, in the how-tos, and the data, in the expecting things to be a specific certain way. I think of those also as ideas of like clinging to this idea of how you want things to be.
Right.
When
Right.
we hang on to that is when we miss our path, when we miss our intuition. Now we don't miss it completely. We just, like I normally say, we go off roading a bit there. But
Right.
it is, that's such a great way to put it. I love it.
Yeah. And then the next one, once again, relating back to that first, the master keeps her mind always to the Tao.
Hmm.
That is what gives her radiance. The Tao is dark and unfathomable.
Yes.
How can it make her radiant? Because she lets it. Now
Hmm.
there's so much in that. Like that is like receiving. That has to do with just allowing.
And,
And that has
and
to,
the knowing from unknowing.
right.
That of which we cannot grasp. You can't explain. I just know. I can't explain to you how I know. I just know. I know your data says this, but I'm telling you right now, I just know this.
Right.
That is to me, that's what that explains.
Dark and unfathomable.
Hmm.
How can it make her radiant? And that's the thing. Like radiant is in so many ways, right? Radiant in possibly like looks, in your eyes, in your demeanor, in your ability to be quick in thought and be simple, and like we were talking about earlier with Julie, like that simplicity of being.
Your energy.
Yeah, like that's radiant. and
Hmm.
and just being present with it. Like, don't cling to ideas, allow yourself to be here present, right? Clinging to ideas is like Maccabee was talking, like being here in the flesh, right? In the
Yeah.
worldly world.
3D.
By allowing it, you are
Yeah.
in the godly world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, and in the simplest form, it is, when it says darkness, I think of the ether of your mind, like the fact that it's not about getting a white piece of paper right at the computer screen, organized thought, or the feelings that we can immediately come to. The darkness is often something within that we can't see, we can't know. It doesn't have to be bad. Sometimes it's just it's just the openness of the sky at night.
Right.
How I think of when your intuition comes. It's the darkness of a beautiful quiet night where you're just open to when you can see stars and you just feel that beautiful openness of all that's in the universe.
Yeah, and I mean, darkness for me is a very is where I'm going, right? Like I'm going to be doing this retreat in March of just like being in the dark. That's not necessarily a place where I'm going to be scared. Like I may become scared at times, or I may become, like lost in that. But like darkness is a place of birth, right? It is a place of where things come from.
Yeah, I mean it's openness.
Yeah. This next line is really is one of my favorites. I have so many favorites, but like I love the way it's expressed, and the way, and what it says is, since before time and space were, the Tao is. And I
Mm,
love how that relates to the depth of the Tao. Or even we can think about God this way, right? Like before time and space were, God is. And there's this shift in language from time base to being,
mm-hmm.
right? Since before time and space were, because time and space do have a beginning and an end, so that we can reference were, this term, this word in English that references, oh, this thing has a beginning.
It
The
doesn't.
Tao, time and space?
Not really. I mean,
Time and space, yeah. Well,
time is
according
not
to the
linear.
Tao, time is what? What's that?
Is not linear.
Right. So before time and space were, once we decided in our minds that time and space exist, right? Once we started having this physical experience, before that, the Tao is. Right? So time is
Right.
a construct, space is a construct, so they have beginnings.
For us to live in the idea of
Right. Right.
3D
Before
world.
time and
Yep.
space were, the
Yep.
Tao is.
Yes.
Because the Tao is now, and the Tao is forever, and the Tao is, and it never began, and it will never end, and it doesn't exist in this construct of time. All time happens at the same time, so to have any sort of linear time is a construct.
And all knowledge, past, present, future, all of it is all available to you all the time, and that is what intuition is.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
if you're talking to me, we must add in intuition as much as possible.
Yes. And it is beyond is and is not, is this next line, right? Like the Tao, intuition, and that connection that we have to the Tao is beyond is and is not. It's beyond all of that.
It is. It's way beyond all of that. And
Right.
that's why it's such a fun topic for me in the business world, because it's so, the business world's so set on time being linear, on ideas being concrete, all of these things. And that's why it's so fun for me, because I'm like, what if you threw all the ideas in the garbage?
Right.
What if time wasn't linear?
That's
Imagine the possibilities. This has been going on forever. You've just been sold this bag of goods. You don't need this bag of goods. You have the Tao. You have your intuition. It's there. It's always available. You just let go and be in the darkness. And I always say, like, the path will light up in front of you, and that's, you're in the darkness. It's easier to see the path to light up.
And then these last two lines say, how do I know this is true? I look inside myself and see.
Yep.
And that's like, you see that intuition everywhere. You see it in you.
And you see other people refer to it, and you hear other people refer to it.
Yeah. And it's there.
It's always, and always has been. It's until, it's pointed out to you and how you experience it and what words you put to call that experience. That's a big clarity. I always like to make sure that it's, we may not have named that experience the same thing, but when we drill down to it, it connects us, because we can say, okay, that's how I call intuition, but I experience the same thing. It is always there. We're always experiencing. It's always available in every aspect of our lives all the time.
Yes. So keep your mind always to the Tao. Keep your mind always to the Tao, because that's what's going to give us radiance.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Yes.
Radiance. I like that.
Radiant. Yeah, I've been liking bringing the ends back to the beginnings, because sometimes we lose sight of the depth of each one of these chapters, and so it's like this is why we get back. This is the master can keep her mind always in the Tao. That's what gives her radiance. Then we get these questions, and then we end up with, how do I know this is true? I look inside myself and see.
And
so
that's sometimes the hardest thing for people to do.
Yeah.
I have people in my life, and I'm like, if they would just stop for a minute and look inside themselves and throw out some of that old garbage that they're carrying around, it would be so much easier for them. They'd feel so much lighter, but some people just can't do that. But when you do, and you can connect with that intuition, there's a freedom there that can't be explained.
It's true. And I'm always looking to embrace more and more of that freedom, and let go of more and more. And I appreciate clearly, Catherine, your latest episode, which came out Monday, and talking all about letting go, and this reference is
Those
so much that we were talking about. I don't know if it was on a Dow or if it was on something else, but
no, but it was those are in your honor. Those 2 episodes.
like so tomorrow's and Mondays.
The Monday of this week and the Thursday of this week.
Oh, look at that! So you guys should listen to those because those are in my honor. Those are special for me to be able to be guided, and I'm so appreciative of you and your love and your appreciation of what I'm doing.
Oh, you're welcome. And that's how my podcasts come out, because people ask me questions or people send me things. And so I make podcasts for actually individuals.
Oh,
People just don't realize that, but that's what happens. And so they know that generally. I mean, sometimes they figure it out, or I tell them. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I put this episode. I listened to it on Spotify, I think, and then I posted it on my Instagram. I know you're not on Instagram very much, but if you go there, you'll see that there.
Oh, thanks.
I tagged you and did all that kind of stuff.
Wow. That's so way beyond my social media presence.
Yes, I know, but I did it
Thank you
anyway.
for boosting me.
All
Love
right.
you, my
Well,
friend.
Bella's back. I'm gonna go get on Bella, and then we'll catch up soon.
Yes, radiance to you, my dear, and all those out there listening.
Thank you. You as well. All right, Bella. Let's see if we can bring you back on. Thank you for being so patient. I guess I wasn't as patient.
Not to worry. Everything works for its good.
Yes.
Doing my AI questions.
Yes.
Yes, I needed to finish this. Yeah. Thank you so much. We were talking about leaders and what
Oh,
they.
yes. Yeah. We're back at 17.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, it was good that it happened, because there's something you and Catherine discussed, which I think can be brought in. The master is justice, and that, the leader loves, despises, and fear. And I know we've discussed this book, which we're going to read, but I kind of smiled when that came up,
Yeah.
because the, this perception came to me some weeks ago, that we sacrifice ourselves, which I think is our ego, for the belief system of the community we're in the hope that we'll get love.
And
So
security.
yeah,
Safety.
and
Yeah.
security, yeah. But love is security in the sense. No. The perception of love is security.
Right.
Yeah, because we say, okay, this is the belief system of this society. If you do all this, then you get love, which is the divine love in us, right? Grace
Mm-hmm.
in us. So the leader then understands the tick boxes of the group and does it. Then
Yes.
the group realizes in its wisdom, because our higher self is divine love, and we connected to divine love by grace, then understands that this is not giving me love. So they feel a sense of hopelessness, grief, guilt, which are low frequencies, because the leader has pride, anger, and desire, which is 175. I looked that up, 175 hertz. And then they sink down to 75 and 50 and 20 hertz. So automatically, if we're looking at it in a scientific perspective, there's an imbalance, because love is 500 hertz. So when we look to grace, which is love, as Catherine was also saying, it has no boundaries. It just is. But it's vibrating at that higher frequency. So, staying at a low frequency then creates fear. And I said this in another room. When you create fear, you're operating in sympathetic drive. So you're operating in survival mode. how can I get? There's only a little. And if you have a lot of people saying there's only a little,
Mm.
then the leader has a problem because
Yeah.
they're not grace and therefore they can't give all of it. And that the love that they shared was finite. I'm not sure if I've complicated the issue. But well, let me just say basically. No, I don't mean to say basically like that. But
Oh, yeah.
grace, if grace, it just is. It doesn't have to try. It just
Right.
is. And it encompasses everything. But when man tries to be grace, then he can only operate at in the boundaries of his experience. So we know grace is there because when we connect to our higher selves or we're in bliss, we know that feeling. So if somebody comes along and gives us a copper plated pot, not even copper, a 24 karat plated part of it, we know it's not real because the gold comes off and we see what's underneath, which is pride, anger, and desire. Is that
And
better?
that expectation that is behind trying.
Yes, because no matter what we try, we can't, how can I say it? We can't make love, you know. Um, love is just this, it's just like the air. We
Yeah.
can't say we are making air, it just is, it's there. And love must be even more abstract than that. It just is.
Yes.
So a leader can only um, reflect, if he's trying to reflect love, in terms of the senses. And we all know that the senses are temporary. They're like sugar. They give us a high and then
Hmm.
it becomes a low. But we know, even in our darkest days, when we stay still, there is something when we connect to ourselves called love. That's why churches and religions and ashrams are packed. Because when they stay still and connect to the love inside of them, they suddenly realize that the symbols of love they were chasing was absolutely nothing.
Yeah. It's a
Martin, you don't sound
it's
convinced.
no, it's it, when we're reaching out for love, there needs to be that internal sort of understanding within ourselves of like, this is us, this is who we are, like,
Exactly.
this isn't coming from outside of me.
Exactly.
We can have an
Exactly.
external experience of love, and that could be beautiful, and that's something that we can embrace and we can love. Then there is that growth, there is that place that we can be.
Martin, look at it this way. You're sitting in a room, presumably. There's air all around you. You know, there's air around you. We can take it, we can compress it, and we can make it liquid, and we can say, this is air. But it isn't air. Air just is. We get up, we breathe, breathe in and breathe out. It's just this, and love is that. It just is. I have never met you before, but there's a connection. And I'd like to think that connection is of our higher self. And, if I could use an example of faith, Jesus didn't go around saying, I am love. It just was, you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
It just was, just like the
He just said,
Buddha.
I am. and
Yeah,
and
I
that
am.
was and I always like to say, well, if that was good enough for Jesus, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, because, yeah, exactly, because I am everything. I am the
Yes, I
table, I
am.
am this. It just is.
Yes.
And therefore, when he was healing and doing his miracles, what was he doing? Connecting
Hmm.
to that divine love which we have in us. We don't have to go out and look at it. When we go out and look, we're connecting to our senses. We're connecting to our senses. It just is. I always used to laugh about, seeing, and I love it when, especially in Europe, when you go along the promenade and you see people 70, 80 holding hands together and walking, you know? It
Yeah.
just is. And you think, gee, they must have had a lot of quarrels, but look at them, you know, just being happy in their company. They don't say I love you or etc. But if anything should happen, it would affect the other person because they're connected by this bond of love.
Yeah.
When we try and um, uh, um, try to force it, then we get into marriages, and then when the marriages, that perception of love, like what's happening in COVID with the high divorce rates, where we have gone in with our senses, the house, the car, the job, the clothes, the holidays. And all of a sudden, it's not there because we had symbols expressing love.
Right.
Then we get angry and we get these high priced lawyers making money because we are saying that the love which we thought, which was in this material superficial success, it's not there. Then we get all this money, and then when we get all this money, we're still not happy. You know, so love is not our senses. Love is something much deeper in us. And you know, a quick thing.
I want to bring this back really quick because I think it
Yes.
may feel like we're going a bit afield, but
Yeah.
what we're referencing here is chapter 17 of the Tao, which states, "When the master governs, the people are hardly aware he exists. Next best is the leader who is loved." And what we're doing is we're in this chapter, we're going down this list of the next best is a leader, not a master. It's just a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst, one who is despised. And this referencing of like love and and the material, right? Like
Hmm.
your leader can be loved because he is giving the people the material that they need to pretend they're feeling that there is this love between them and the leader that doesn't have that is interfering in a way that with the material possessions so that he can be loved.
It's the perception of love and
Right.
keeping the status quo.
Right. And
Whereas
then
the
we move into this next one, which is like the one who is feared. And the one who is feared is often someone who might attempt to remove love from you. Like, now that I'm giving you this stuff, now you rely on all of these things I'm giving you. What if I were to take it away? Now you're someone that they fear. And then
I
when you
think
go on,
mhm. I think fear comes out from scarcity
right.
because you got that love, as you rightly said, but it still hasn't fulfilled what you thought the master has given you,
Yeah,
which exists.
it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
And because
Exactly.
it's not sustainable, the leader has to shift his focus to being like, I'm not going to give this. Now we're creating scarcity.
I think, how can I say this? If you look at the leaders who have governed in fear, which we know of, Mussolini, for instance,
I
he
think he was a leader that was despised. I think he's one further down than that.
no, no, but he started off. All leaders start off with love, right? The
Yes,
people love them.
absolutely. Yeah.
He says, literally, we're going to make Italy great again. That type of thing. We're going to have everything. And then he realized that it was beyond his scope as a leader. Then
Right.
it went down and down and down until fear, and which was perhaps reflected in him being hanged in the end.
Yes.
Because you can't bottle air. It just is. And love of the master, grace, it just is. And I just don't know how to explain it. It just is. And
It
it's in
just
us.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, it just is.
just like at the end of 21 where it says, "How do you know? I looked in my heart and see. You know? I looked inside myself and see."
Yeah, exactly. Because the divine intelligence is part of you, and you are love.
Right.
But when you take your mind, not take your mind, when you take yourself and put it to your senses, that's when the problem happens, because you want to see air bottled, and it just isn't. It just is.
Yes. And every time you exhale, there's more air to bring in. You know,
Well, if you said we just
it's
take
not
it,
like you're going to hold on to every breath just in case.
yeah, and if you do, what happens? Your whole body goes into, I don't have to go into the scientific aspect, but if you
No,
hold,
yeah, but you know, you can't breathe. Like that's
yeah, you
it's
get
going to force you
acidosis.
to breathe.
Yeah, you get acidosis and it mucks up your whole system
Yeah.
because you're using your senses, you're using your body. You know, you should
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
if you just sit down breathing, unless you have a medical condition, you're not going to get acidosis. But if you start and say, I am going to hold on to this breath, then you get acidosis and everything goes kaput.
Right.
You know, you get kaput, and you know it's just not right. And then when it gets terrible, you know, you die.
That's right. And your body will breathe. Your body will reach out because it knows it's there, and you will go get it.
Yeah,
Even
but
if
if
you're
we,
underwater and you're holding your breath, you will eventually reach out for it, and you will drown. But that's what your body does, is it reaches out for that which it knows is there.
exactly. And if you drown, what happens? You go back to love.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
You
Thank you
get
so
rid of
much,
your.
Bella. I am being joined by another one of my faves. Oh, bad. Oh, bad. Kelly, are you with me? Maybe
I
not.
had to look at my phone and see. I'm like,
If
who's
you
on
you are
next?
next, yes. I've had a lot of guests today. I think this
Yeah,
is this is it's been a really nice day, and
it was
I
Wild
am.
Wednesday.
Yes, I'm telling you. How's your morning been?
Oh, two sick kids home. So great.
Two today.
Yes, it's really loving this little cold season that I'm just getting out of the way this year. That's
Yes. Well, just
perspective, right?
yeah, that's right. Just finish it out early. As long as you have like a
Right.
box of Fruity Pebbles at the house, I think all is well.
We do, absolutely. Pretty pebbles.
Well,
You know, I can I throw something out before and then I'll give you my
please,
number.
yes. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're my guest. I am
Uh,
a good host.
we hear, thank you. We hear a lot about love. Everybody's talking about it for like the last collective consciousness of the last couple months, especially. But does anybody know how it feels? Like, we don't talk about like recognizing it. Like, the word exists. We can call it like frequencies, we can call it things, but like, really, like, getting that, embodying that, like, that's really important to acknowledge. I think we don't mention enough in all the millions, infinite ways we can experience it. It's beyond just vibrations, which is sort of not a tangible thing for most human beings to, we know we can feel sound if they're a speaker or something, but we really just don't grasp what that means quite yet, most majority people. So like,
Yeah.
I just want to just throw out there, like, finding all the little ways you can literally experience it in words that don't typically associate to the word love.
Right. Like yesterday I recognized I was sad, and I
Yeah,
recognized that, and I cried, and
yeah,
I would say that was love. I would say that, like,
I
just
agreed.
being in that place where I could cry, being in that place where I could reach out, being in that place where I could could be there and love this moment.
Not turn away from yourself because you're sad. Yeah,
Yeah, like that is part of it. And love doesn't have to look the way it, like it quote
it's not all
unquote
red hearts.
supposed to,
It's
whatever
not
that
all
means.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, it's not
Right.
all like, it's not all hand holding. It's not all like cozy sweaters. It's not all
Yeah.
more meals. It's
Right.
like, it's the possibility of feeling and experiencing it is in everything, and even negative things that we perceive to be negative have aspects of love involved.
Oh
I just,
yeah. Like
you know,
because what growth comes from that, what thoughts come from that, what like I mean, it's hard to kind of like, because everything is so paradoxical.
Mhm.
Even disgust can come from a place of love. Like, like it's not rejecting, but it's like, like this in me is like, disgusting, like, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, let me embrace, let me feel through this, let me experience this. Yes, like the idea that something is disgusting is a judgment, but that judgment could lead you to feeling something.
Mhm.
So
Ah,
all of those things are bringing us into alignment.
and yes, and so it's yeah. I just thought I'd throw it out there for anyone who wanted to hear it. That like just have like an exploration, a journey. Go on like a
Yeah.
journey and what that feels like to you. What all the millions and infinite ways you can experience these things that we hear all the time about, but like truly experiencing it. It's
Yeah.
just so varied, like we are. So that's all.
Well, I love that. That's a wonderful, wonderful little jaunt. Now, do
The
you have
jaunts, yeah,
yeah,
39. It's
39.
it's a weird number. That's why I'm going with it today.
Oh.
I know.
Okay. In harmony with the Tao, the sky is clear and spacious. The earth is solid and full. All creature flourish together, content with the way things are, endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed. When man interferes with the Tao, the sky becomes filthy, the earth depleted, the equilibrium crumbles. Creatures become extinct. The master views the parts with compassion because he understands the whole. His constant practice is humility. He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao as rugged and common as stone. That was
It's so
39.
fitting.
Yeah.
So fitting. It's. I mean, every time you read one of these, I'm like, that's so obvious. So,
Right? Yeah.
like, of course. Uh, it, it, and each one is a poem within itself. It's its own little tiny world amongst all the worlds.
That's right. So
And that's it. It's the harmony.
it starts off in this place of harmony, right? In harmony with the Tao, the sky is clear and spacious, the earth is solid and full, all creatures flourish together, content with the way things are. And this is where, so that's all fine and good, right? In harmony with the Tao, all of these
Seems to
things are
be.
great,
Yeah. Seems
right?
to be.
Things are great. But here is an interesting sort of caveat to all of that. Endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed.
That's not that's just, I mean, it's infinite. Existence is infinite. Like, it's when things are in harmony, they're exactly as they're meant to be. But even when things are not in harmony, they are as they're meant to be.
Mm-hmm. I love this endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed part, because I'm like, earlier, like way earlier, like at the beginning of this talk, I was, we talked about waking up every day and being who you are today, not bringing in not bringing in all that you were yesterday, right? Like we're growing into who we are. We're coming into who we are every day. And this idea of endlessly repeating themselves, like I am repeating myself today, but I'm also renewed today. I'm not the same repetition as I was yesterday.
I just have an image of like I said this last night to somebody, but like, that everything you think exists, everything that you haven't thought exists. And so it's it's just infinite. And like it's about hope, I guess, because like if it's not working out for you right now, does that mean it's not working out for you in the whole? Doesn't mean it's not going to come back up again. Opportunities are always going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's always a new opportunity, right? Like endlessly renewed once again, endlessly repeating, endlessly renewed.
Yeah, hope.
Yeah. When man interferes with the Tao, the skies become filthy, the earth becomes depleted, the equilibrium crumbles, and creatures become extinct.
Man, man is another way of saying ego and the
Yeah,
desire to tame or to control or to be the master when you're only the master when you don't try to master.
right. Like so much of the Tao speaks to that, right? This idea of just like get out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. And here we have this when man interferes with the Tao, when we try to control it, we make the skies filthy, we deplete the earth, and the equilibrium crumbles. And we
Earlier
see
today.
that. We see that happening all over.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. When you interfere, when you interrupt the beauty that was planned by you at another point in another time, like you're literally like disrupting yourself, but also the best masters, the best leaders are the ones that you don't really see and hear. They're just there
Right.
to they're like parents, you know,
Yeah. They're the ones that just like
guide you or support you or like
there's a Tao that I have not read yet on Tao of the Day, and it states something to the effect of do you think you can fix the world? Or do you think you can repair the world? I don't think it can be done. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Right,
yes.
like that's the like and such a beautiful way of looking at this when man interferes, when it's just like, oh well, let's make the sky better, right? Like Elon Musk putting in all his fucking
uh
satellites into space so that our night sky is going to be covered with like lines of satellites, right?
Everybody who loves him is so confusing to me. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And the earth becomes depleted. Like how many times how many companies have we like just I went to Chile and I was driving up the side of a mountain and I couldn't help but realize that all of the trucks that were leaving with all of the rocks that were filling it was like you're literally taking your mountain away.
Mhm.
You're literally trucking your mountain away. I was like, "Oh man, somebody is short-sighted here."
Yes, short-sighted. That's the thing. That's the human ego is so short-sighted
Yeah.
for sure. Like that's the disruption.
Yes. Short-sightedness is like I love that word. Like so many people are just living in this short-sighted way. Like even
Yes.
when I talk to my clients, they're always looking at the symptoms. And I was like,
Yeah,
"No.
yeah.
Symptoms don't it's not the
Even
symptom."
doctors do that though. You know, like
Yeah, right? The
that's the
whole
whole
industry.
medical. Yeah. Ugh, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's look at the symptoms. Let's suppress your symptoms. I'm like, "Whoa, like that there's a reason that it's there. Like, let's look at that." The master views the parts with compassion because he understands the whole. He's not short-sighted. He's not looking at the symptoms.
That was what I was gonna say next too. Yeah, it's literally like it's not even like singularly sighted or like any sighted. It's just simply
Right.
like if you sat with your eyes closed and you could just see it all and just appreciate it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And
Be a
being here,
part of
looking at
it.
that. Yeah. His
Yeah,
constant practice is humility. Be a part of it. Don't try to control it.
be a part of it. Allow.
Be humble in the face of the universe, man. Like, we don't have to conquer it.
And it feels so much better too. Can you imagine trying to stand up to the universe and be like, I shall be the one who determines I know what's right versus just sitting or standing and just like smiling and being like, thank you. Like, this is amazing. I'm so glad to be a part of this. Like, the
It,
difference.
there's a phrase I like that you just kind of that it just reminded me of that I use on the odd occasion. It's holding the ocean back with a broom. Like that's such a because that's what we do. We say, okay, well, here's this thing we don't want. Let's just push up against it all the time, and it's just so much bigger than the broom you brought.
Yeah, it is the ocean. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao, as rugged and common as stone.
Diamond in the rough.
Hmm. That's, like that's so much about how I want to be shaped. I want to be shaped by that which is around me, by that which, I've been through, by those things that I've experienced. And I don't wanna slough those off. I don't want to identify,
For
like
sure.
I don't want to identify as someone in recovery, right?
Hmm.
But I also don't want to dismiss the fact that it was a part of what made me. It's
That's
something that is part of me.
your story is your superpower.
Yeah.
That's been my thing to say this week or couple of weeks, but it's true. It's what makes us each unique. It's what gives strength to others. So it's not that your story needs to give you strength. You have the strength, but others might. Well, they do too, but they need to recognize it. So we're the mirror for that, because they're the mirror for us. You know.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I really
I'm
like
just,
rock.
I was, me too. I was just being quiet and connected with you, and like just kind of like looking over this again. It's such a beautiful one, and
It
I'm
it
looking at it.
evokes a lot of imagery too, which is
Yes,
nice.
yeah, it is like the solid and full earth when it is connected to the Tao, and that's us as well. Like we're solid and full. Thank you so much for coming on and picking
Yeah.
39 and chatting with me. And good luck today with both of the children at home.
Well, thank you. I will take that look. I will need it. Have a good one.
Yes.
Bye. Thanks for
all
being here.
all my support. Love you. Okay, that, my friends, is Tao of the Day. If you haven't, if you're just coming across Tao of the Day for the first time, I'm here every weekday on Wisdom, and I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81, and we walk through, talk through, and otherwise philosophize about about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching translates the Canon of Reason. It's an ancient text written about 600 BC by Lao Tzu. And I'm your host, Martin John. This is a Recover Yourself production. If you're interested in getting translations, English translations of the Tao, I can send you a text. Just follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. And I would happily send you links to get the translations, get other English translations of the Tao. I use Stephen Mitchell. I'll send you that as well directly. Once again, Martin John. This is a Recover Yourself production. Check me out on my website, martinjohn.com. I have workshops coming up, and I work with a limited number of clients one-on-one every month. You would only work with me 4 times because that's all you need. I don't want to be your crutch. I want to get you off living your life. That's why I talk about things as recover yourself. You can do it. You have everything you need within you, and you don't need to get caught up in the symptoms. If you need to lose weight, if you want better relationship, you want a better job, you want more money, all of those things are just manifestations, and we're probably just getting in our own way. So I want to help you get out of your way. I want to help you get that trauma off your back. So thank you so much. I'm always talking about what it is we can recover to. And until next time, I hope you can continue recovering too, and recovering yourself as you are, as you were born to be. Love you guys. Have a great day.